noticed a lot is people are failing to train on single hand manipulations. You need to realize that if you're going to be in a gunfight, especially in close quarters or urban combat, the odds of you getting hit are quite high, and you need to be prepared for anything. So whether you need to be trained in strong arm or weak arm, you know, you have to be able to adapt to either one. And so I'm going to go over a couple different techniques that I use using the pump shotgun. And what I have here is it's a Winchester 1300 Defender. I got a Knoxx Recoil Compensating Stock and a Trijacon reflex sight. Now, when you're using a single hand with the 12 gauge, a big thing, first of all, is recoil. You got to be able to move with this weapon. It's a big, long weapon, and you know, it's not like an M4 where you know, like sometimes you have these slung, sometimes they're not, sometimes you have them in a holster on your back. But like for single hand, I prefer to move in the high ready, to where I have my butt stock underneath the crook of my arm. I'm looking over my optic, over my night sight, and at my target. And I'm moving towards my target, enemy, you know, whatever. And so you're in a good, steady position. You have eyes on, to where in this case, if you had to, you could just drop down, and you already know you're on line because you're using 2 points of reference right here to know that your windage is at least right. And with a shotgun, at least you'll be able to put somebody, get their head down or whatnot. Or, you know, if you're going to make the precise shot, you punch up, bring it down, and engage. And the weapon is still manageable in that sense. Because right here, you could sit here all day long. This is pretty comfortable, really. Now, the hard part with the single hand with the shotgun is reloads. So, because as you know, with every single fire, you're going to have to reload your weapon. And so, you punch up, you engage, now you're going to have to operate that slide. And with one hand, that's where it gets tricky. There's two methods that I teach. The first one is my preferred method, where you're going to step out with one leg, and you're going to drop down with your weapon, you're going to rake it on your leg, bring it back up, and re-engage. The second method, which is still good, I don't prefer it just for the fact that it changes your body position so much, is that you punch up, you engage, you drop down, and you're going to lock the weapon between your legs. Punch it, and go again. And as you can see, it's fairly quick, but what I don't like is bringing those legs together. You know, it forces you to stop. The other one does as well, but it allows you to engage, and you're never really losing your forward momentum, because either way you're taking that step out with that leg. Reloads get a little tricky as far as whether you're doing a tactical reload or you're doing a breech reload. All right, with breech reloads, whereas like normal you would have engaged and pulled the round out and re-engaged, it's a little different with single hand. It's a lot more difficult. And to do so, you would engage, you're going to drop, place the weapon between your legs. Now as you notice, I don't let the weapon swing like this. You have lots of positive pressure on this thing, and you hook it under this arm. You're going to reach across your body here. You're going to grab your shells, whether you're pulling out of a dump pouch, a bandolier, or just these retention loops. Now, as you hit your round, you're going to drop it in, rack your slide back up. You know, you haven't had to redo anything extra. All you're doing is pulling that weapon out, and you've chambered that round. You can re-engage. Now to do a tactical reload with one hand, it's a little slower, and I always teach people to take a knee when you're doing it. Because of course, you know, like combat, you want to make the smallest profile already, but you're going to be a lot more steady than trying to do it between your legs and stuffing rounds in there. It's just not an efficient way to do it. So right now, we're simulating out of ammo. Drop down, you're going to place your buttstock to the earth and bring your weapon in across your body. You'll then reach, you know, grab your rounds and start inserting them in the tube. And you don't even have to take your eyes off your target while you're doing this. Is pretty simple. You can do multiple rounds at a time. But if you're going to notice, if you're already in a single hand situation, just keep it simple, one round at a time. Pull them out, put them in, pull them out, put them in. You're going to have one hand there. And so if you drop it, you know, or fumbling over multiple rounds, or you got blood on your hands from the other wounded arm, you're going to notice that's going to be a big hindrance. You know, and then you can go ahead and reload and re-engage. Now I've been demonstrating this all with strong hand, and everything's the same weak hand. It just, it might be more difficult for you because you're not as proficient with your offhand than you are as your strong hand. Now, but like as you can tell, everything's the same. Your carry position's the same. The way you reload's the same. It doesn't matter if you're doing it right or left. I'm going to show you a couple engagements actually with this weapon, and show you how you can manage recoil with single-handed, and how I manage it. And you're in that fighter stance. You know, you're in that high ready, and as you bring the weapon down, you're really into it. Now, as you're sending these rounds, you don't have to worry about speed really, because, you know, granted in a gunfight speed always matters, but if you get flustered on that with single hand, you're going to be screwing up your action, because you're not going to get a full rake out of your slide, you're not going to fully move that action back, and you're just going to end up with a dead round back in the chamber. So you got to slow it down and really focus on your technique. So I'm going to send a few rounds and let you see how this goes. Now, I'm sure a lot of you noticed the slide automatically comes back like that, just from the recoil. You cannot rely on that to be there. And so, unless you physically see it, after you take that shot, you see that slide seated to the rear, you're gonna have to do a full rake. Now, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Really go out and practice your single hand manipulations. It's an unlikely situation, but if you're in it, it is, you know, do or die, and you need to know it. So you need to be proficient in strong hand and weak hand manipulations, and you just really need to practice any situation, because the key to survival is adaptability, and whoever adapts the fastest will survive.